first, game on.
But it is the bully boy in the bronzed Adonis, Paul Nicholson, in the commentary box, and me, Dan Dawson, for it.
Michael Smith is under pressure in this game, not only because he's playing Steve Beaton, who is always here, but his seeding is under threat. He needs results, and he needs them now. If he wants to stay seeded, he's got to win this match, hasn't he? He's got to do well next week as well.
Yes, well, Michael Smith is under pressure, but at the same time, you look at his results this year. Anybody who just looked at the Premier League or just looked at the European Tour stuff might be thinking, oh, Michael Smith, he must be playing awfully. I mean, he's had a couple of first-round exits in the Euro Tour. He's you know, right near the bottom of the Premier League. But if you just dig a little deeper, his average is higher than a lot of players in the Premier League. He's just thrown away points.
99.
He's made 2 finals on the tour this year. Semi-final of the UK Open and only lost a close one. He actually battered Steve Beaton 10-1 in the quarterfinals of the UK Open. It's there. It's just he's not getting over the line. And if it wasn't for James Wade, Michael Smith might have picked up 3 titles this year, because he's lost in 2 finals and a semi, all to the same man who's beaten once in 5 years.
Yeah, that's definitely something he's going to have to address. The next time he plays James, he's going to have to break down that psychological wall against him. Now, Beaton can't leave himself on a double after that treble 7. And Smith's had a really steady start to this match. If he can ping this double first start, watch his confidence grow. That's a really good start for Michael Smith. And in contrast to the start of Joe Cullen in the previous match, where he missed a lot of doubles, they cost him. I get the feeling this game is going to be pretty handy as well.
Well, this is going to barrel along this game, because both of these guys just race through their visits and it will suit them. Steve Beaton has this unwelcome knack of just attracting enormous performances from some of the biggest names in the game, and it's because he just plays at the same speed, does the same things over and over again, and people just get into a groove very quickly. And yeah, the Adonis can go toe-to-toe with them, and he can beat them, but sometimes they put in performances that nobody can stop.
Are you calling Steve Beaton talent nectar?
Well, yes. I mean, he's many things, but that is one of them.
Great crowd today. Everybody really vocal. Steve just asking what is left, and that's smart, because he's not noted as the best counter in the world. So he's just making sure that he doesn't make a mistake. Looking like 1-all. And this is an improvement on the first leg, if he can get this double 16.
Oh. Well, looking for the top portion of the bed.
16.
And you can see what he was trying to do.
Well, if he'd hit that double 16, that would have been some sort of wizardry.
100.
Needs the same bed he's just hit. And he gets it. Had a good sighter. And he throws exactly the same amount of darts in that leg that Michael Smith threw in the first leg.
Well, Steve has been picking up money.
170.
Accruing ranking money. He's made, obviously, the quarterfinals of the UK Open, where he was spanked by the bully boy, but he's had another quarterfinal, but lots of last 16s and board finals. You know, £1,000 to £1,500 amounts that he's picking up. We will be seeing him in Sindelfingen, because he's been so good in the qualifiers for these Euro Tours. He's made all of them. Nobody else has managed to do that this year. And
it's almost like he's made it a priority, hasn't he? And I think that's how you've got to look at it now.
Well, I mean, a lot of players will talk about the Friday night qualifiers being more important than the actual weekend of ranking tournament darts, even though, you know, you might come away with £0 from them.
Pressure's applied from Beaton. He's found his scoring shoes. And that's what Michael Smith's supposed to be doing. And he's done it. Might be too late in leg 3, though, for an 11 darter. Fantastic. Right in the corner. Keeper's not saving that one.
Top bins from the bronze Adonis.
Yeah, steady accumulation is a very good thing to have in your locker. You don't have to necessarily go out and win titles all the time, but if you want to be involved in things like the World Match Play for a period of about 17, 18 years consecutively, you've got to always accumulate. You can't have one of those 3 or 4 month spells where you don't win a game.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have those, does he, Steve? He always seems to be in the mix, because it's not just consistency over a year or consistency over a 2-year spell, it's consistency over decades that we see from the Bronze Adonis. And arguably, actually I'm not even sure it is arguable, I think it's just a fact, when you look at the strength of darts, the quality of it, and the strength in depth, Steve Beaton has had to keep making progress just to stand still, because it's harder than ever to compete on the tour, and yet here Beaton is doing it over and over and over as he makes it, what, back-to-back 4 visit legs? Not quite.
Very close on that double 8. Michael Smith is reaching for a few of these darts. Double 4 for Steve. Yeah, he gets the job done. Best leg of the match from Steve Beaton. And I think when you mentioned the 2 words standing still, it's very apt, because if you look at Steve Beaton when he's throwing on the right hand side of the screen here, nothing is moving apart from that arm. That's why he's been so good for so long. Look at Michael Smith on dart 3.
Yeah, he does walk on it, doesn't he?
He doesn't lose his height, as Rod Harrington would say. He walks forward. Well, he does it very well, though.
Yeah, there's a few players who are guilty of that. Darryl Gurney insists it's it's an integral part of his game, his last dart. Just gives it a bit of extra oomph.
Well, Kyle Anderson does exactly the same. It's almost a shift forward. They're starting to walk after the dart. I personally don't think it's strength, but they think it is. It's just who they are. And who am I to argue? They're the guys on the stage. I'm the one that's on the microphone.
Well, treble 18 for double 10. Loves this double 10. Pins this double 10. And it's a 12 dart response from Michael Smith. Important after losing 3 on the spin. But here we see, look, Beaton averaging 105, and that first 9 is fantastic. Michael Smith still averaging 97. This is the sort of position that Michael Smith has found himself in a lot this year, where, look, it's pretty decent. It's good. And you can win a lot of games with this sort of stuff. You average 97 and take all your checkouts, you're going to win a lot of games. But people are doing some serious stuff against him, and he's finding himself in positions where he just misses at a crucial time. And it's the exact opposite of what he was doing last year.
Based on the start of the match, though, he's starting to tighten up his clench on that treble 20 now. It's a lot more regular. He's living with Beaton in the scoring stakes now, whereas he wasn't earlier.
Yeah, well, Beaton is at 3 180s in this game, and each one in a leg that he's gone on to win. Michael Smith responds with a 180.
This would be massive. Oh, that was in if that dart wasn't there.
These are the moments that Michael Smith, they've not been working out for him of late. And lo and behold, and that's the response you get, because he knows this has been happening. And it's putting more and more pressure on him.
Double 10 is there for Steve. And that's a bit of salt in the wound that he hit the segment that Michael couldn't. He extends his lead to 2 again. Steve Beaton is looking to be the 3rd consecutive seed slayer this afternoon in Graz.
Well, you saw of Mark Barilli in the first round, 6-3. It was only 88 average. He's nearly 20 points more than that at the minute.
You were talking just before we went on the air with this game about this quarter. This quarter may be the strongest quarter in the history of the Euro Tour.
Well, it's certainly difficult to call. I mean, you've got the winner of this playing either Rob Cross or Jeffrey Desvaughn. I mean, good luck with that. But then in the same quarter, you've got Max Hott, Euro Tour winner, Keegan Brown, one of, well, in fact, the only person to beat Michael van Gerwen on the Euro Tour this year so far, Ian White and Jamie Hughes. And we know, Ian White is perennially one of the top performers on the tour, and Jamie Hughes keeps on firing in. Well, he's doing exactly what Michael Smith's doing, to be fair. He's averaging big, and losing games.
Yet he won a game last night where he didn't even average 80.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was bizarre, wasn't it?
Odd game.
All in all, this weekend has been a strange one on the Euro Tour, between our MC bringing his guitar out like some sort of gap year travelling lad and leading a sing-along. And now proliferation of missed doubles, but look, the seeds are going here. And there might be another one going right now. Oh, now a slip.
3 8s needed. Gets 3 16s. 8 left. Big shot. Keeps himself in touch. He misses that, and Beaton is in the distance. Very good from Michael Smith. Just clinging on to this game, not allowing Steve Beaton to stretch his legs. But vital misses from Beaton. They could come back to haunt him.
98.
You see from that side-on cam there, the things that are moving and the things that aren't from that stance. And when we look at Michael Smith, there's dart 1. Bit of a reach, that one. We'll come back to that in a second. If he has 3 at the 20, he always seems to lean on that third dart.
98.
Martin 40 leaves a finish. He's going to get one here, surely.
See that slight movement forward. It is very, very small. I think Michael is just a pure feel player. He's not about mechanics. It's just about how the dart feels in his hand and how it feels when he's throwing. And I used to argue with a Shanghai master and a multiple title holder.
Double 16. Beautiful stuff from Beaton. It's a 15 dart leg, and he is 1 away from what would be a rare win against Michael Smith. He's beaten him 4 times but lost 11, and the last few have been convincing wins for Michael Smith. Not just the 10-1 at the UK Open, but 6-3 at the back end of last year in Barnsley, 6-0 when they last met on the European Tour.
Who's to say that Steve Beaton can't go on and win the title with this kind of display?
Well,
first night of 122 and a 104 overall average. This is a brilliant performance from the legend.
Best we've seen in terms of the numbers this weekend so far. Darius Labanauskas averaged almost 104 yesterday. Back that up with nearly 103 today. Looks incredibly dangerous. But Beaton is always dangerous.
Everybody seems to be playing well against Michael Smith this year, and he should take that as a compliment because they see him as a huge threat.
Oh, they should do. World number 6 world finalist, Premier League finalist. But he needs to fill this up, and well, look, it's just things aren't going for him. And Steve Beaton doesn't need to go 14 and ball, so he'll set it up and come back with match darts in his hand, because Michael Smith, he was under pressure. He's been under pressure, weirdly, despite playing very, very well this year. But in crucial moments, it hasn't gone his way, and Steve Beaton is going to knock him out the tournament if double 8 is found.
Reprieve. Is that the little signal that Michael Smith needed? He hit that beautiful 1-3-3 to leave tops, and he's pinged it. All of a sudden, Michael's still in this match. We thought it was over. Steve Beaton in a flashback, and that's 60. Teflon Beaton.
Andrew Gilding missed 9 match darts yesterday against Chris Dobie. Is Michael Smith going to have a similar amount of luck? Oh my word. I mean, you can't even... He's so unfortunate.
That's twice in a matter of 2 minutes.
190.
That happened yesterday with Devin Pearson. He had 2 right in the middle of the bull that fell out.
43.
Michael's probably thinking, what have I got to do? And Steve Beaton is just plodding along, putting himself in position again. And it's a lesson for everybody out there who loves to play this game competitively, that when you do miss match darts, the best way to rebound is just to get back on the horse and do what you've been doing all game.
96.
Well, more match darts incoming for the bronzed Adonis. Smith does manage to get himself down to a finish, but this could be it. Is it curtains?
Game shot.
It is, and Michael Smith suffers another disappointment. The bronzed Adonis with 102.5 average.